Let's see.
Hello, world.
Hello, world. That's a good way to start. How is everyone doing? Welcome to the fourth episode of Mostly Harmless Marketing with AI. As usual, I'm joined by Guy and Paris, and we'll be chatting about the latest. It's the second episode for this week because we had a lot of news from the AI world and how it impacts marketing.
Mhm.
So we're excited for this conversation. How do you guys feel? Do you feel confident that we're up to date with everything happening?
Yes.
Uh,
Yeah,
I would
absolutely.
say so. More than the average marketer, I would hope.
For
It's hard
sure.
to say that we're really up to speed on everything, though, because it's moving so fast.
Yeah, well, we're up to speed as of this moment. Um, oh no, we're behind again. But, no, it's all good. It's definitely a fast moving, and it's going to be like this, I think, for the next year or so, where just everything's changing from week to week. As we're in the middle of like the storm, I think, or even at the beginning of the storm of this whole growth in AI and people not being. Hello, Jakob. Nice, what a lovely message. Good
Hey,
morning, lovely
Kuba.
people. Um, yeah, so we're kind of at the start of this crazy adventure that I think is a really exciting time. So we're up to date now. Um, Next week we will be even more up to date, and the week after that we'll be even more up to date. So even more reason to subscribe to the newsletter if you haven't already. But yeah, it's a good time. It's a good time. Definitely interesting things have happened past this week at least, and more to come for sure.
Yep. Guy, do you want to share what you have for us and maybe update us on also the latest news from last night? Because
Yeah.
there are more things that
Oh
we got
yeah, because
after we launched the newsletter.
we can talk about that. Should we talk about that first, and then we can get into the newsletter?
Yes, that I think would be great.
I assume you're referring to ChatGPT and Reddit striking a deal to share data so that uh, ChatGPT can um, learn from have another source of data to learn from and develop from and have more up to date news. Is that what you're referring to?
Yep, I think this is quite a big news. As we were
Mm-hmm.
discussing earlier in the chat, Reddit has always struggled to kind of. Paris is back. Just a second.
Sorry about that. I'm back.
No worries. We were just chatting about Reddit, and I was saying that this news is big because Reddit has historically been struggling to get solid revenue streams just because the users of Reddit usually are not so prone to advertising. So ads there have been kind of struggling, and Reddit hasn't really been perceived as a strong advertising platform as the rest of the competition. But now with OpenAI backing it up, using its API, I'm sure that this would be a nice revenue stream for them to use it. So it's a pretty major news, I think. And also the fact that more and more companies are recognizing the quality of the content being generated in Reddit, which is one more reason to confirm that people are more and more prone to, seek user-generated content and real human connection, and that's kind of the vibe Reddit has, and everyone perceives it with.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting to see the different reactions from the shareholders compared to the users. There was a huge pushback. Obviously, Reddit went public fairly recently, and there was a huge pushback from the users about this, and they really didn't want it to go public because they really felt that this sort of thing would happen, and they really wanted to keep Reddit as commercial free as possible, and to keep it as this open, free playground, if you will, where people can really continue to share and explore their hobbies and niches and memes and current events and news without any outside influence. And that's kind of what made Reddit such an amazing, popular, beautiful part of the internet. So when when the IPO was announced and certain restrictions were put on certain moderators and such and all that sort of stuff, there was a lot of pushback, a lot of resistance from the user base. Um, so now, obviously, they went ahead anyway and did it. Now it'll be really interesting to see how the users react to this, knowing that anything they put on Reddit will be helping to train AI. So I haven't checked, haven't had the opportunity to check out what the reaction from users has been yet, just to scour Reddit. But yeah, it's something definitely to keep an eye on, and it's huge. And there was a leak last week, I think, from OpenAI showing their preferred publishers list, which again is highlighting their reaction to the lawsuits that they're facing, the pushback again from creators about how OpenAI's data is being trained, plagiarism and all this sort of stuff. These are all hot topics, of course. So it's interesting to see OpenAI actually taking proactive measures, reaching out to certain publications, trying to strike deals to keep to make sure that they can have a continuous stream of data to train on, and also start to offer people up-to-date, relevant news. And there's something we were talking about in our AI chat channel at Hop Online, is that yeah, it's now it's an interesting time for Google, because whilst they have absolute dominance over the internet and over search in general, what they're starting to see now is other players, other competitors start to chip away at that. So you have Gen Z are really focusing on TikTok, particularly when it comes to search. They're using it as a way to see how good restaurants are, to see what's happening near them, to understand and learn information and to share ideas, which are all things that typically were done on Google traditionally. We're seeing now Bing, OpenAI with Bing and ChatGPT, they're starting to again push on that search thing. So ChatGPT are rumored to be working on generative search. So making sure that when you go to ChatGPT, if you ask a question, it gives you relevant, up-to-date information. So, and we're starting to see that now. They didn't release that on Monday, but we're starting to see that now. If you ask it to tell you information, sometimes it will give you sources. Oh, this is from TechCrunch. Oh, this is from, The Guardian or whatever. Yeah, and that's something that's also going to really threaten Google. Google are really pushing on generative search now as well. Obviously, they launched that on Tuesday in some markets, and then we have Reddit as well as a go-to place for people to get information. So it will be interesting to see how Google respond to that, and it does make you wonder how much pressure Sundar Pichai is under about it from investors and from his teams. So yeah, it's going to be a really interesting time to see how Google react. Of course, this relates to the second story in the newsletter. Google's annual AI conference. They introduced a whole host of advancements of how they're introducing AI into their across their softwares, across their tools that they're using. So again, I think this is a response from growing pressure from competitors and investors. So they're integrating AI in different ways. So in search results, they've been testing that for a while, and now they're launching that. I think that really highlights the crucial importance of optimizing content for marketers, for AI-driven results, especially for visibility and engagement. Because if you can get your article to be the one that Google show in their generative search result, that's going to be really valuable, because it's going to be right at the top, and it's going to show people that you're the trusted source, you're the authority. So it's really key for companies now to really focus on SEO and really focus on their organic content, because that's only going to become even more important, even more valued by customers. I was talking to my wife about this the other day, and I said, "Oh, did you know that Google are going to start?" She actually said, "Man, why can't they use AI just to give me an answer in search?" And I said, "Well, funny you should say that. Google are actually doing that now." And she was just like, "Oh, I can't wait for this to be a thing that everyone does." Obviously, Perplexity have been doing this as well. They've also started integrating Gemini into Gmail and Google Messages. So that's going to improve for marketers. It's going to be amazing, improve productivity, efficiency, help you draft, summarize emails, take action. We see that they're putting AI-powered video generation with Veo, their new tool. That's a Sora competitor. So that's going to allow us. So, for example, if we want to test new videos in a PMAX campaign really quickly, we don't have to necessarily go to the client and say, "Hey, we need this, 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 and this," and it takes them a week, 2 weeks, however long it takes them. We can now then just go into Veo, put in a prompt, get some promotional videos really quickly, get the approval of the client, and then launch them. And that's going to really improve the go-to-market time there. So again, huge advancement there. And then in Google Maps, obviously, that's going to help you get better targeted local advertising campaigns. So Google are responding in robust ways. So it's going to be really interesting to see how that shapes things. But it's an important set of developments for marketers to certainly be aware of and to to take advantage of and start learning about it. It's an amazing opportunity for you as a marketer, for us as marketers, for business people in general, just to take these tools and use them to really grow your business, because you can start to test really quickly, you can start to scale really quickly with these things, reach consumers in more personalized ways right where they are. So it's a fascinating time. I think Paris, Terry, if you have any further thoughts to that.
Yeah, go ahead, Paris, and then I can tune in as well.
Go ahead, Terry. I didn't really have anything.
Okay. Yeah, I have to say from a marketing's perspective that Google did a horrible job with their conference, and I think ChatGPT totally stole the show,
Yeah,
announcing
for
yet
sure, for
again
sure.
something just one day before that. And even the format, I think, of the conference and the way they didn't present anything in real time, how they didn't
Mhm.
really involve a lot of people, I think that dehumanized them in a way. I was reading a lot of
Yes,
comments in the link that you provided for the YouTube summary, kind of. A lot of people are hating on them to, be perceived as a big bad corporation. And it's funny to see
interesting.
how, yeah, if you open the link to the YouTube video, there are a lot of comments about how they didn't present it well, how they're turning into a big bad corporation, how it's just boring features, not really showing the big picture and stuff like that. So a lot of negative comments, which only showcase, I think, how important it is when you launch something to make it in the right way and make sure that you're speaking to the right audience. And in this case, people that are, AI savvy and curious about this industry, they don't really want to see this structured corporation style event. They really want to get down to the details and get excited about whatever it's happening in the new developments. And I think ChatGPT did a lot better job in that, because even the fact that they showed how the model is not yet perfect, and you were able to see in real time how excited the people working on that project were kind of a teaser for ChatGPT 5 that's yet to come. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
they did an amazing job there in completely stealing the show from Google. Not
Yeah,
to
for sure.
mention the complicated names and all of the other stuff happening on the Google side of things. So yeah, that's just a side note for how they presented it. But yeah, you can see here. Um, Never thought I'd see the day where Google just turned into a boring corp like
hmm
IBM. ChatGPT has more charisma than Google's CEO, and all of these.
Oh
And I
yeah,
think among the chaos and all these AI conversations, people forget that at the end of the day, marketing is really about communicating to people, and the way you decide to portray the message and showcase whatever you're doing is still important, and that's just one more way of seeing that.
absolutely.
Um, and then, yeah, one thing I also wanted to mention for VO is I think even if people don't use it to produce the end videos, it's still going to be a very useful tool to use for brainstorming.
hmm
I know we've been doing that with our creative teams and using ChatGPT to kind of generate an idea of what we want clients to give us in terms of creatives, and then that speeds up the work because it's far easier to explain with an image on what you imagine that you want a certain ad to look like, and then go ahead and polish it, actually do the work and beautify it to the extent you want. But having that first draft from a tool like ChatGPT or Veo or anything else would be useful, I think, to speed up the creative process.
Yeah, absolutely. And one thing that I found really interesting, just to highlight this, is this is a report from Microsoft. Microsoft did a survey across 31,000 people in 31 different countries, um, and they asked them. This is all recent. This is within the past 2 months or so, they asked a whole bunch of questions about AI, how AI is being used at work. And this is the Work 2024 Work Trend Index annual report. And it showed here, so this is a graph showing a share of leaders who said they have a moderate to major concern about not having enough talent to fill roles. So see here, cybersecurity is right at the top. So people are leaders are moderate to majorly concerned about not having enough talent to fill roles in terms of AI usage. Here we see 52% marketing and public relations, and then up here as well, creative design. So 60% of creative design leaders have expressed a moderate to major concern about not having enough talent to fill roles. So again, it's going back to what we're saying. Now is the time to learn about this, because there is a huge increase in usage of AI within workplaces, and this report shows that 60% of survey respondents use AI at work already now, since the past 6 months. So since December 2023 till now, 60% of people use AI at work. 78% of people use an AI tool that is their own, so a bring your own AI tool to work model. So that means that their companies either have not put into place policies for AI at work, or do not use AI at work. They don't have an enterprise account. And what this means is that people want to use AI, so they are bringing their own tools to work, which poses quite a number of risks for these companies. They don't know what is being uploaded to the AI from their employees. They often don't know if their employees are actually using AI at all.
Sorry, Guy, just to interrupt you for a second. Can you zoom in that a little? Because
Yeah, sure.
people can't really see it.
Okay.
Okay,
Is that
thanks.
better? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
it is better.
Actually, I'll share this report in the chat, but it's really interesting. So now is the time to really learn about. There's a link to the report, to really learn about AI and to upskill. And this links back to one of the articles we shared last week about reskilling. Now is the time to do that, because you can see there is a huge gap in the market for leaders who are looking for people to learn about AI, because they don't have enough talent to fill the roles in terms of it. And there's also a huge importance for companies to understand AI and to learn about it, and also to put measures into place to protect themselves and to protect their data and their clients' data from people using AI at work. So it's really fascinating. People are moving on this. People are using AI. It is something that is becoming now very prevalent in the workforce, not just in the US, but all over, because this report, they did interview people from quite a few countries, at least from every continent. Here, Colombia, Czech Republic, Finland. So here's a list of countries, 31,000 full-time employed. So it's a really interesting report. And particularly in terms of creativity, creative directors in creative industries are using AI more. This links back to what you were saying about VO. They are using AI more in the creative, to come up with creative ideas.
Like the ideation stage, yeah.
Ideation, yes, thank you. So it is something that, yeah, these developments from Google, whilst they marketed them terribly and they totally got jumped on by OpenAI, they still do have some really interesting and exciting developments here. It must be really annoying for people like Demis Hassabis, who is a certified genius and created pretty much Google's AI from scratch, to see them fumbling the ball like this. But it was quite cool to see OpenAI really taking the fight to Google.
Yeah, even in the AI world, marketing is still important. That's the key takeaway from this one.
Absolutely. That will never change, I don't think, he said famous last week.
Yeah.
All right. Okay, shall we move on? Paris, do you have any other thoughts on this?
No, I think just proving that OpenAI is a lot more nimble,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that they are. I mean, Google is following a playbook, a marketing playbook that they've followed for many years about launching new products, and OpenAI is much more nimble and the front running. And Google is lacking face like a Sam Altman, really, who gets on Twitter and X and
That's true.
showcases a lot of stuff. I think that they're too corporate. Really, they're stuck. But I don't doubt that these are going to be awesome products. Veo and Imogen, they're going to be awesome products, I'm sure.
Yeah,
To
I
start.
already have a few clients in mind that I really want to test Veo with. We'll see. We'll see.
Yeah.
But yeah, I totally agree. I think I think Microsoft have been very smart with their investment in OpenAI, in that just letting them continue the way they are, not interfering too much that we know of. Maybe there's stuff going on behind the scenes, probably there is, but just really letting OpenAI kind of manage themselves and just reaping the rewards of their hard work, and just you see what they're doing with Copilot and stuff, how they're implementing that, how they're training their staff on that, how they're really pushing that. So by letting OpenAI kind of have free reign, yeah, it's pretty smart, because then obviously Microsoft is a huge corporation as well, so they could have done what Google are doing and just made it some corporate thing, but I think it's a very smart move from them.
Yeah, I think it's inevitable, probably at some point, for any company to become too big and too corporate, and it's difficult to avoid that, even with probably a face behind the brand. Um, so yeah, we still have to give them credit for keeping up at least with features and new developments. And I mean, everyone hates Amazon for who they are as a company, their policies and how
The
they're
business
treating their
practices,
people.
yeah.
But yet again, they're one of the biggest businesses in the world, and they're still very profitable. So maybe that's kind of the future of Google as well. As a company that may not be as
Maybe.
sexy in terms of the way they present themselves, but still one of the most profitable companies in the world. So
Yeah, and they still have it obviously huge dominance on search. There's no um, there's no I don't think it's going to change for a while. They have a real stranglehold over the internet.
yeah, for marketers, I think it's important to look closer to YouTube, because all of these developments, I think, are suggesting that video is going to become more and more major. And even with search generative experience and everything that will change within search, I think Google still have a big advantage with YouTube and their user base.
Yeah, I heard that YouTube is the second largest search engine after Google. So
Yeah.
yeah, amazing. All right, moving on. Et2 Brute, Microsoft starts competing against OpenAI. So Microsoft, this story is that Microsoft have launched MAI1, I don't know how you pronounce it, MAI1, which is their large language model that aims to compete with AI leaders like Google, Anthropic, even OpenAI. And what they want to do is they're using their vast resources and recent acquisition of Inflection. So the CEO of Inflection is now heading this up to push this forward, push this project forward. And I think this is what this really shows, is that by Microsoft developing their own AI model, because they don't own OpenAI, they're just majority shareholders. They invested a lot of money into them. They don't own them. But by developing their own AI model, it's showing how serious they are in terms of advancing AI. And it also shows us that we're not there yet. The dust hasn't settled. There's still a lot of play left. And the developers and investors are really going after that. They're trying to find what is the best model, what is the one that is going to be the successful one, the one that's going to be the main route forward. So it's more than just an innovation or an investment opportunity. They just need to find they're still looking for that winning formula, and that to them, this is showing us that they are seeing this as a strategic race, not just for survival but for dominance, and it's imperative for their business and other businesses need to understand that this is not just because OpenAI is number one now, ChatGPT is number one now, just because Google are focusing in the areas that they're focusing on, doesn't mean that that's it. There's still a lot more change to come, and we're still going to see a lot more innovation. And I think Microsoft, by launching MAI1, are showing that is still very much the case. So, yeah, I think we're going to see lots of different things. Obviously, Apple now, the the great eye of Sauron turns to face Apple, see what they're going to do. They have 3 weeks, I think, till their WWDC. They've been working on smaller LLMs that are able to fit onto hardware devices. So presumably they want to put AI into iPhones to prevent, because we're seeing now the cloud is quite slow. So that was the problem with other AI powered hardware devices, that they're very slow to respond. So by putting AI directly into devices, it's going to make it immediate. So we're still seeing a lot of innovation and change there. Yeah, it's very interesting.
Very thorough review on my side. I don't have anything else to add on this topic.
Yeah, it's almost as if I know what I'm talking about. Come on.
You're faking it well.
Thank you. The next story is scary, but also interesting and exciting at the same time. We were talking about that film Her from Spike Jonze, I think, on Tuesday.
Yeah.
And this is essentially what that is. Kevin Roose, a New York Times journalist, created a series of, after ChatGPT, the most downloaded AI apps are called AI companions, which is a virtual friend that you speak to. You create this virtual friend, this virtual avatar, powered by AI. You give it some information about yourself. You tell it how you want it to behave, and then it becomes a friend, a virtual friend, which is a little bit creepy. But there are some genuine use cases where this would be very helpful and useful, particularly for people who have social anxieties and other things like that. But he basically explored this sort of strange world of AI companions, discovering how AI personas offer emotional support, what kind of advice they give, how they approach romance and other spicier aspects. And it's a really interesting read. And it's, again, quite scary. You can see the dystopian side of it, but you can also see the utopian side of it. But they are becoming more and more popular. And I think we're only going to start seeing them more as we progress. And even a little bit, we saw it on Monday's announcement from OpenAI. You can see how they've adjusted the voice of the avatar to be more friendly, more open, more energetic, a bit flirtatious. It's a big change. They have a lot more emotion injected into them, and I think that this is something that we're going to see more and more of. And it will be really interesting to see how it's used for mental health reasons. So again, if you're struggling from various mental health issues, these could be used to help talk you through them, give you some therapeutic advice, maybe. And yeah, we just need to see how we really need to see how it's done responsibly and transparently as well, because obviously there's a lot of opportunity for hallucination, for bad things to happen, particularly if people get too involved. So yeah, it's definitely something. It's a really interesting article that I really encourage you all
Yeah,
to
I
read.
really enjoyed it as well. Ferris, I don't know if you had time to read through it. It's pretty long, but I think
Not really.
it's an amazing editor's choice, I
Yeah,
think.
no, I think AI, especially now in the real voice era, which we've just entered with 4.0,
Mm-hmm.
These will become real companions, from romantic companions to friends to advisors to psychologists. I think that this could really, um, they say that knowledge work is under threat, but I also think that any kind of, um, especially now psychologists, psychiatrists, um, this is going to be a cure for loneliness for probably hundreds of
For
millions
sure.
of people.
Yeah, and I think again, if it's done responsibly and transparently, they could certainly offer a way for brands to tap into emerging trends, emerging consumer needs, and particularly for customer service, it could be amazing if you were a company and you could create an individual customer service agent for each and every customer that would know everything all the interactions they've had with the brand, how they feel about the brand, what their purchase habits are, what they like, what they don't like. You could have an amazing customer service explosion. It would just be so valuable for your brand. One company I used to work at, they're based in the US, and they had customer service teams based in the US in the head office, and that was such a value add for people. Because if you're a customer and you call the service agent and they sound like you, they get your cultural references, they talk, very in a way that you understand them, and it connects. You feel like they're a friend, and that a friend is helping you, and it is a huge value add. So if you can have something like this added into your business, it would be just so valuable. And imagine if you called, I don't know, just Domino's Pizza, for example, and you were like, there's some problem with my delivery, and there's someone on the end that doesn't know you, that has no interest, that doesn't sound like you or whatever. It would just be like so annoying. But if you were to open up the Domino's app and say to your Domino's AI companion, hey, the pizza came with the wrong toppings, it was cold, and the delivery person was very rude, they'd be like, oh, I'm so sorry. I know that you like pineapple on your pizza or whatever, it's controversial, but I get that you're a bit different like that, and would have like a proper conversation, was able to resolve your issue. Man, that would be amazing. That would be so good. It would just like really increase brand loyalty as well. So I think there's a huge opportunity for marketers, but you have to be really careful with the responsibility and transparency with which you operate this.
Yes, and I
Mm.
think careful also where you apply it.
Yeah.
Personal experience from a few days ago, I was ordering from a delivery app, and they now have a bot that helps you throughout the delivery process,
Cool.
and which in theory sounds great. Yes, it's amazing and can speed up a lot of the processes. You don't have to talk to someone on the phone, etc. But for example, they got to the house, and then I got a call from a bot saying, do you want to connect with the person actually delivering the food to figure out how he needs to get to your place, etc. And that was a really annoying experience because I actually had to hold two more conversations, first with the bot, and then
Uh,
obviously I wanted to talk to the delivery person, because if I'm expecting a delivery and it needs to get to my door and we need to align on how to get there, etc., like this is an instance where a direct conversation with the person that would be delivering the service is far better. So in this case, for example, having a bot is not recommended. And I think brands need to be a bit more strategic where and how they're implementing this kind of conversation, and where they still need the human touch.
yeah, absolutely. I think it's that thing that we've talked about a lot, is that that formula, humans plus machines are greater than humans alone. I think that definitely there will always be the need for human presence. I don't think that would. I think that would be a mistake to change that. Yeah, I think AI would just help us reach a new level. I think definitely for sure. But
Yep.
yes, definitely use 22. And the last one we have um, in the newsletter is Microsoft and OpenAI have launched a $2 million fund to educate voters on AI risks, which is obviously we have a lot of elections this year. Big one in the US, of course, very contentious election in the US coming up. So Microsoft and OpenAI have introduced this Societal Resilience Fund, $2 million, aimed at increasing AI literacy among voters and vulnerable communities to address the growing threat of AI-generated misinformation and deepfakes. I think this initiative highlights the growing need for increased AI literacy rates. Of course, it's a common theme throughout this call for sure. The more consumers can learn about how to better spot deepfakes and misinformation, the safer your brand will be from various attempts to negatively influence consumer trust and the integrity of your marketing efforts. So this is something that I think is going to be really important, and I think they've learned a lot of lessons from Facebook and the Cambridge Analytica scandal that happened around Brexit. And I think they're doing this as a way to prepare themselves, defend themselves, and help people also prepare and defend themselves against what is going to be potentially a huge increase in deep fake misinformation, because obviously there's a huge threat for that. And again, it links back to the cybersecurity thing, links back to the story we were talking about earlier in that Microsoft report about, there being a huge gap in knowledge for cybersecurity roles. So it's going to be a interesting one to see play out for sure.
I agree.
Paris, thoughts
Okay.
on on this story?
No, I think this is very important to educate people now. I mean, 70% of workers are already using it in the workplace, either legally or illegally, according to their company's uh, requirements or policies. So everybody knows this is out there, um, and the deep fakes are definitely going to be coming, and they're going to be pretty
Yeah,
pretty disruptive. Because even if you know it's a deep fake, you can't unsee somebody doing something and
yeah,
saying something.
absolutely.
So
We've already seen that with the Met Gala. There was quite a few deepfakes of celebrities who weren't there that were um, placed there with AI deepfakes. Katy Perry being an example of one. So yeah, definitely something to start learning how to uh, spot an AI image. I think is a key outtake there. But definitely need to make sure that you educate your co-workers, family and friends about AI and misinformation.
I think it will be easier for our generations that can compare before and after. But for the newer generations that are growing within this environment, I think it will be a lot harder to spot that kind of
Hmm.
fakeness.
Yeah, yeah, it is a concern. It's a concern.
Yeah.
And we have two things at the end here. This is a link to this call, and then here we have the video of your fireside chat, Terry in Paris, which we
Yes.
yeah.
Thank you,
All
Guy,
right,
for the mention. Okay. I think we are good for today, guys. Let's wrap it up here. I hope everyone in the audience enjoyed the conversation. If you have any further questions or you're curious about AI, please subscribe to the newsletter and make sure to drop us a comment. Thank you,
thanks
everyone.
very much.
Have an
thanks,
awesome
Terry. Thanks,
weekend.
Guy.
Bye.
All
Bye.
right.